Imagine a colossal ship, the pride of the seas, embarking on a voyage that would echo through history. In the early days of the 20th century, the RMS Lusitania was a marvel of human ingenuity and ambition. She was a testament to the power of technological advancements, a symbol of luxury and grandeur, and a beacon of the era's relentless pursuit of progress. The Lusitania was more than a mere vessel. She was a floating palace, a titan of the seas. Her decks were adorned with the finest luxuries of the age. She boasted grand dining halls, plush staterooms, and an opulence that rivaled the most lavish of terrestrial estates. Her size was staggering, dwarfing other ships of her time. She was an engineering marvel, a testament to the boundless potential of human innovation. Yet the Lusitania was not just a symbol of human achievement. She was also a player in a world where the winds of change were beginning to stir. The early 20th century was a time of political tension, a time when nations were flexing their muscles, and the world was teetering on the brink of a conflict unlike any it had ever seen. It was in this climate that the Lusitania set sail on her fateful voyage. On board were men, women, and children, filled with anticipation and excitement, oblivious to the geopolitical storm brewing around them. They were embarking on what was supposed to be an unforgettable journey, a transatlantic crossing that promised the thrill of adventure and the luxury of the finest ship afloat. Yet, beneath the surface of this idyllic voyage, a sinister undercurrent was flowing. The world was changing, and the Lusitania, the pride of the seas, was sailing headlong into these changes, into the maw of history. Unseen forces were aligning, and the stage was being set for a tragedy of epic proportions. Little did the passengers know they were sailing towards a date with destiny. May 7, 1915, a day that would forever be marked in the annals of world history. On this fateful day, the mighty Lusitania, an illustrious passenger ship and a symbol of technological prowess, set sail across the Atlantic. Unbeknownst to the nearly 2,000 souls on board, their journey was destined for tragedy. The Lusitania had been at sea for a week, making its way from New York to Liverpool. The atmosphere on board was one of excitement and anticipation, with passengers relishing the luxury of the ship and the promise of new adventures. But as they traversed the waters off the southern coast of Ireland, a lurking danger was closing in. A German U-boat, U-20, had tracked the Lusitania's course. The submarine's commander, Walter Schwieger, made a decision that would resonate through history. He ordered his crew to fire a torpedo at the unsuspecting ship. The torpedo struck the Lusitania with a devastating force, ripping through the hull and igniting volatile cargo. Panic ensued as the ship began to list and sink rapidly. The Lusitania, once the queen of the seas, was now a scene of chaos and despair. Passengers scrambled for lifeboats, but the ship was sinking too fast. In the confusion, many lifeboats couldn't be launched, and those that were dangerously overcrowded. In less than 20 minutes, the Lusitania was swallowed by the sea, taking with it over 1,000 lives. The world watched in shock as news of the disaster spread. The sinking of the Lusitania was not just a maritime catastrophe, it was a human tragedy of immense proportions. The loss of life was staggering, and the shock that followed was palpable. In a matter of 18 minutes, the giant of the seas was lost, sparking a global outcry. The sinking of the Lusitania was a pivotal moment, a trigger that would set the world on a path towards the most devastating conflict in human history, World War I. The world stood still, shocked and angered by the tragedy. The sinking of the Lusitania had sent tremors rippling across the globe, and the world's reaction was as immediate as it was intense. The loss of nearly 2,000 innocent lives, including those of women and children, was a blow that none could ignore. In Britain, the public sentiment was one of outrage and sorrow. The Lusitania was a symbol of British maritime prowess, and its sinking was felt as a grievous assault on the nation's pride and security. The British press capitalized on the tragedy, painting Germany as the villainous aggressor, the beast that had unleashed terror upon the seas. Across the Atlantic, the United States, still maintaining its neutrality, was jolted by the incident. 128 American citizens had perished in the disaster. The sinking of the Lusitania was a blatant violation of the rights of neutral nations, and it stirred the American public. The newspapers were filled with heart-wrenching stories of the victims, and a wave of anti-German sentiment swept the nation. Meanwhile, in Germany, the event was portrayed in a very different light. The German government and press defended the attack as a legitimate act of war, arguing that the Lusitania was carrying munitions. The German propaganda machine spun tales of British deception and duplicity. In the midst of this, a propaganda war ensued. Each side tried to use the event to sway public opinion, to justify their actions and vilify the other. The sinking of the Lusitania was no longer just a maritime disaster. It had become a tool in the hands of nations, a spark that could ignite the powder keg of global conflict. From the neutral countries to the war-torn nations, the sinking of the Lusitania had elicited reactions of shock, anger, sorrow, and defiance. It had brought the harsh realities of war to the fore, transforming public sentiment and shaping the discourse of nations. The sinking of the Lusitania had shaken the world, and the stage was set for a global conflict. The Lusitania's sinking was not just a maritime disaster, it was a catalyst for war. The shockwaves from this tragic event rippled across the Atlantic, reaching the shores of the then neutral United States. The American public was aghast at the loss of more than 100 of their citizens. This event stirred a deep-seated sentiment, a rising tide of anger and calls for justice. The sinking of the Lusitania was in many ways a tipping point. It subtly shifted the balance of public opinion in the United States, turning them away from their policy of isolationism. It is important to note that the United States did not declare war immediately after the sinking of the Lusitania. There were other factors at play, and the path to war was complex and multifaceted. But the incident created a significant crack in the wall of American neutrality, a crack that would eventually crumble entirely under the weight of further provocations. The Lusitania's sinking also had profound implications for international maritime laws and warfare conventions. It drew the world's attention to the grim reality of unrestricted submarine warfare, a practice considered by many to be a gross violation of the laws and customs of war. The international outcry led to a re-evaluation of naval warfare's rules and eventually, to more stringent regulations to protect civilian lives at sea. The echoes of the Lusitania's sinking resonated in the halls of power as well. It served as a stark reminder of the consequences of complacency in the face of aggression. This lesson was not lost on the leaders of the time, who were forced to confront the harsh realities of a world at war. In essence, the sinking of the Lusitania was more than a tragic event. It was a turning point, a moment that marked the beginning of the end of American neutrality, and a catalyst for a broader re-evaluation of the rules of warfare. The ripples of the Lusitania's sinking spread far and wide, altering the course of history. The Lusitania's legacy extends far beyond its tragic end. A catalyst for conflict, its sinking served as a poignant reminder of the devastating realities of war. Today it stands as a symbol, a testament to the human spirit, the courage of those who faced unimaginable adversity. This ship's tale, etched deep in the annals of history, continues to captivate, to intrigue, to inspire. Scholars delve into its mysteries, piecing together fragments of the past, while artists weave narratives around its final voyage. Its impact reverberates through time, shaping our understanding of global conflict and international relations. The Lusitania also serves as a grim reminder of the delicate balance of peace. Its story prompts us to reflect on the consequences of our actions, the ripple effects that can trigger waves of change. The Lusitania's voyage ended in tragedy, but its story sails on, a stark reminder of the high cost of war and the fragility of peace.